Ever wondered why torque specs are crucial in cars? Why does it matter if a bolt is tightened more or less than what the manufacturer suggests? Welcome to the world of torque specs, an essential yet often overlooked aspect of car maintenance. Each bolt in your car serves a critical role, and just like a key in a lock, it needs to be turned just right. That's where torque specs come in. These numbers, set out by your car's manufacturer, are the guiding light to ensure each bolt is as tight as it needs to be. Now, why does this matter? Picture this. You're cruising down the highway and suddenly a bolt gives way because it was too loose. Or the opposite, a bolt snaps off because it was too tight. Neither of these scenarios sounds good, right? That's because they aren't. Not following torque specs can lead to serious damage, compromising both your car's functionality and your safety. So, torque specs aren't just numbers, they're the difference between a well-functioning car and a potential disaster. But what exactly are torque specs, you might ask? Torque specs, or specifications, are crucial guidelines provided by car manufacturers. They tell us the precise amount of force we should use when tightening a bolt or screw. This might seem simple, but there's a lot of science behind it. Torque specs aren't just random numbers plucked out of the air. They're carefully calculated based on several key factors. First, the material of the bolt is considered, as different metals can withstand different amounts of force. Then, the part the bolt is being screwed into is taken into account, as this can also affect how much torque is needed. Finally, the conditions under which the car will operate play a role in determining the appropriate torque. Will it be driving in hot or cold weather, on rough terrains, or smooth highways? So, torque specs are more than just numbers. They're a way of communicating with your car. Understanding torque specs is like speaking the car's language. It tells you exactly what it needs to perform at its best. So we know what torque specs are, but why are they so important? Well, imagine you're building a delicate model airplane. You wouldn't want to use a sledgehammer, would you? That's essentially what you're doing when you over-tighten bolts. You're applying too much force, which can cause the bolts to stretch or even snap. On the flip side, under-tightening is like using a feather to hammer in a nail. It just won't do the job. Parts can become loose, leading to rattles, leaks, or worse. Both scenarios can cause serious damage to your vehicle and pose significant safety risks. Following the manufacturer's torque specs is like following a recipe to bake a perfect cake. It ensures the longevity and optimal performance of your car. It's about balance, precision, and care. Ignoring torque specs is like ignoring a doctor's advice. It might not hurt immediately, but the consequences can be severe. So, let's recap the importance of torque specs in cars. Torque specs, as we learned, are specific measurements of force that manufacturers recommend for tightening bolts on a vehicle. They're not just arbitrary numbers, they're carefully calculated to ensure optimal performance and safety. Ignoring these specifications, as we've seen, can lead to a host of problems, from bolt failure and component damage to severe safety risks. It's akin to playing a game of Russian roulette with your car's health and your own safety. So, when you're wrenching under your car's hood, remember to always follow the manufacturer's torque specs. It's not just about getting that bolt tight, it's about getting it tight in the right way. It's about ensuring that every component functions as it should, that your car performs at its best, and most importantly, that you stay safe on the road. Remember, when it comes to torque specs, it's not just about tightening a bolt, it's about ensuring the safety and performance of your car.